The teacher tip with Mr. Long, and this video is particularly for grade 12 students. So if you are a teacher, make sure that you share this with your grade 12 students. And if you are a grade 12 student, then make sure you share this with your classmates. But this is important information before your final exams on how to fill in the front page of your NSC departmental exams. There's quite a few things that you need to fill in. So let's go check out what you need to do for every exam. So here I've got an example of what the front page of your exam booklet could look like. And let's go through the things that you're going to fill out. So for example, over here, you're going to see the center number. That center number is going to be related to where you are writing your exam. There should be signs up in your exam venue specifying what your center number is. It is a 7-digit number, so make sure that you go look for that number. It should also be listed on your exam entry letter. So there are multiple places for you to get it. Make sure that you write it down correctly. So I just made one up, but you make sure that you fill it in nicely in the blocks. Then your examination number. Remember, you cannot put your name anywhere in the exam paper or on the front page. You are now a number on your entry letter. You should have your examination number. It should fit in all these blocks. So put each number in each block and make sure that you write it down correctly. I just made up a random number, but once you've written your number, make sure that it is correct. Maybe check it again, triple check it, because this is the only thing that is associated with you. If this number is wrong, then the mark for this exam paper will go to someone else. So make sure that this matches the number on your entry letter. You're going to need to write this for every exam. So make sure that you know it so that you know exactly what you write. Then you've got the date of the exam. Here you can write down when you are writing this paper. It should also be on display somewhere in your exam venue. Then book number. Be very careful of this area. What I tend to do is, if this is your first book, then you can write down 1 over there because this is book number 1. But I would not fill in this part yet until the end of the exam paper because you're not going to know how many books you're going to need. At the end of the exam paper, then you can come here and fill this in. If this is the only book you use, then it's easy. Then you just put a 1 over there. It's book 1 of 1. But if there are multiple books, for example, might be book 1 of 3, and then on the other books, you'll have to say 2 of 3 and then 3 of 3. So wait for this part at the end of the exam paper so you know exactly how many books you're going to use in total. We have another video about 5 things you need to know before your exams, which explains the whole process about multiple books. So go check that one out as well. Then over here, you've got subject code. There's a special code for the exam paper that'll be actually on your question paper. If you look at your exam paper that'll be given to you, at the bottom somewhere over here is where you'll find a barcode, and underneath that barcode will be the subject code. And that's the code that you are going to write out in those blocks over there. So just double check on your exam paper to see what your subject code is for that one. And it should fit into those blocks exactly. And then on the front page will also be the paper number. So for example, this is paper 2. So then you will write down a paper 2 over there. Normally the subject name is already pre-printed for you, so you don't have to indicate that. But if it is blank, your chief invigilator will tell you what you write down there. Now, if by some chance you've made a mistake anywhere on your exam booklet, let's say, for example, that is not supposed to be an 8, that's supposed to be a 5. If you scratch it out and you show a correction over there, like that's a 5, whenever you've made a mistake, you must initial next to that place to indicate that you have acknowledged that mistake and that it is corrected. Try not to make mistakes, but if you do, for example, let's say this is actually supposed to be a 3, then you scratch that out, you indicate the change, and you must initial where you have made changes so that they know that you've acknowledged that that change has been made. They won't accept any booklet where there have been changes that haven't been initialed. So make sure that you do that. Then if we scroll down, there's a whole bunch of things over here that the markers will be using for like senior markers and the moderators. You don't need to fill anything out over here. The only thing you need to worry about is the first column here. Here is where you're going to indicate which questions you did. You always write down, I did question 1, I did question 2. This is what you'll do at the end of the exam because you'll only know which questions you tried out after the exam. So fill that in after the exam on the front page of the first exam booklet. If you used a second booklet or a third, for example, then in those books, you only have to write down the questions that you did in those booklets. But on the main one, the first one, you must indicate all of them over there. And remember, mistakes include if you make it very dark. If I go and make that text very dark, it looks like it's a mistake. It is best to rather indicate that that was a change. Anything that looks out of the ordinary might be flagged by a marker, so make sure that you fill it in all correctly. That's how you fill out the front page of your exam booklet. The chief invigilator will be giving you all these instructions, so just follow them if you're not sure. Rather ask an invigilator for clarity before you do something that you're not too sure about. So fill out your center number. That should be on display in your venue. Make sure that you use the examination number that is in your entry letter. Check it, triple check it to make sure it's correct. The date, make sure you fill in the book number at the end. Get the subject code from the front page of your exam paper as well as the paper number. Fill out the questions that you attempted in that first column. Don't fill out anything else over here. And don't forget, if you've made any mistakes or any changes, make sure that you correct it and then initial that you have acknowledged that you've made that change. And if you follow those steps, then that should make your exam process go a lot smoother. And check out our other video about 5 things you need to know for your final exams. That video will also help you out. Although most of the videos on this channel are for teachers, there is a playlist that is designed particularly for students, and that's the exam tips playlist. So make sure that you check it out for more tips. Make sure you share with your friends. If you're teachers, share this with your students. And remember, don't do it the long way, do it the Mr. Long way.